First of all, I'm going to go ahead and install the camera in the center. You don't have to, but I'm going to use a GoPro Session, and we're going to mount it in the middle. You could put it over to the side, but I'm going to put it in the middle and put the FPV camera over on the side. So you can use, most any camera you want. You'll just have to measure, how deep you want it. So you can pretty much put any camera you want on. You can put a Run Cam or a Mobius or even a GoPro, regular GoPro on there. You would just take your dimensions and cut it the way I'm getting ready to do this one. First of all, I'm gonna put this in the center, so I want to get my center mark. The box is about outside to outside, about 6.5. So let me get something to. There we go. So I'm gonna go, like 3.25. That should give me center. That's good enough. We're gonna measure the camera on the GoPro Session. We're gonna go about 1.5 inches wide, so that's gonna be 3/4 on either side. Three-quarter. So that should give us our 1.5 inches. Oh, excuse me. And we can, use a marker here, and I'm in an eraser and get the lines if you don't want them on there. So we're looking at about 1.5 inches. So far, so good. Now, we're going to do the same thing going this way. Okay. Now we're going to measure our camera this way. So I'm going to bring this measurement here to 1 1/8, 1 inch, 1 1/8 inch. And if I show you here, it's going to leave it, sticking up just a little bit. You could actually recess it down a little bit further if you wanted to. But I like to keep, things that's going to be inside here when you see how this is done, to keep it clear inside. So, and I'll show you that in a minute. So I'm going to do this at about 1 1/8 inches. Okay, and the way I do this, you can just make another mark and do it, but let's see, I'm going to do it like this. There we go. And you could just take a couple measurements there, but and then draw a line in between and it'll work just as good. Okay, so that's like 1 1/8 inches. Now we could make this the same thing. In other words, go 1 1/8 inches back this way. But you'll find that the further back you go, what's going to happen is going to wind up tilting the camera up a little bit, and that's what we want. You can kind of experiment with that a little bit. Let's just go, about 1 3/8 inches. Now you can adjust these, after you make a cut. Cut it shy first, and just make your first cuts, not so deep, and that way, if you want it to, to recess, then you can always cut it more. Okay, and that's about where we're going to go. So let's go ahead and give this a try. What you do want to do here is take your time, coming up to these edges here. So let me go ahead and see if I can get this cut in okay. And I'm just going to kind of run over it a little bit. Okay. And again, just take your time. Try to stop these as close as I can. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is open this up and we're going to push on this. And there you go. It makes your seat for it. I'm going to check inside and make sure nothing's interfering here. Everything's looking good there. The main thing when you cut these, you know, you don't want to get too far this way because you're going to get into your cross pieces in your controller. And, you know, that's about as deep as you're going to want to make it. But I think that'll handle most every camera, or, you know, pretty much. The thing is that you may just have some of it, you know, on top, sticking up on top. No big deal. But I think, you know, I think the Mobius and everything's actually not as tall, so probably do a little bit better job. This is going to fit like that. Not too bad, not too bad. And we'll have a seat there. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm using this all-in-one. I'm going to try, you know, we've been using this like on the like Tiny Whoop and those kind of cameras. But I found one that's 200 milliwatt on the transmitter. We're going to see if that's really true. We're going to try it. But this one's adjustable from, you know, 25 or 200. So we'll see how it works. I went ahead and put a connector on so it'll plug straight into the battery. This camera will, you know, goes from I think like 4.5, 4.8 to I think 26 volts. Anyway, it'll run on 12 volt, no problem. Okay, so let's go ahead and measure this one out. So what we're going to do the same thing. We're going to measure the camera. You know, we're about 1 inch there. I'll put it about right here. Okay. So this is about where I want to put it. And we're going to go over 1 inch. Let me just double check. One inch would be good. Okay. And I'm going to, the camera's 3/4 of an inch high, but I want to make it like 5/8. And it's going to leave it sticking out a little bit so I can, you know, change things around if I want to. So we're going to go ahead and go about 5/8 there. And we're going to do the same here. Okay. Go ahead and get my trusty square. Same here. Okay. Then we'll okay. We'll go ahead and cut this. And we'll just make sure. There we go. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to push in on there. And we're going to want to make sure that we get a good bend there. There we go. And normally after you do it once, you know, it's going to hold it pretty much from then on. We'll kind of work with it a little bit and straighten up the creases, or, you know, wherever it is bending. I'm going to kind of clean up the lines a little bit. Okay. Let's see how the little camera's going to fit. That's pretty good. So we're going to fish this through there. That's looking pretty good. And I'll just adjust it to, you know, so it fits down. There we go. There we go. That looks pretty good. Now what we're going to do here is we'll go ahead and do the camera first, the FPV camera. I'm going to go ahead and put this on. Use the sticky squares. There we go. Let me do it this way, make them there. That's a little bit better. Okay, now let me get these pieces off. Okay. I just want to make sure. There we go. The only thing I'm doing is, you know, pushing on the back side of the box there, just to make sure that adheres pretty good. There we go. There, we may have to put some hot glue on there a little bit later, but we're gonna let that set up for a little while, then we'll see. Okay. And here you can see the camera's there. We can get to the buttons here, and when we're open, you'll see that we can get to the channels there if you need to. Okay. And like I said, a little bit later if we need to. But I think this is going to be fine. And we'll probably wind up putting there we go. Okay, and what we're going to do here is put some Velcro, and we'll measure this out. Okay, let's just get a measurement here. That looks good. And we'll put this in. And our GoPro session is going to wind up sitting in like this, and when it opens up you can get to everything. And when it's closed, everything's going to be nice and secure. Okay, I went ahead and changed the tape that I was using on this. I went with a little bit better tape, and it works a lot better. It's a lot better. So there you are, and when you go to change your battery, you just lift it up. You'll have to be a little bit more careful, you know, than normal, but you can get in here and get to your battery. This is your plug here to plug in to the battery for your camera, and everything works good. Okay. But you'll find this is a neat way of doing it. Now you can cut this a little bit wider here and give it a little bit more room, but I like to have it a little bit tight, and when I open the box and then whenever I close it, you know, I'll just push this back in place to make sure everything is secure. So it works pretty good. I mean, you can, you know, make it a lot more permanent if you want to, you know, by using a good strong tape to hold it instead of the Velcro. That's your, you know, call on that, but I like to be able to remove it, and it's real easy to do it. And we have a good tape on here. It holds it. Now you could hot glue this on, you know, on the bottom pad, but you know, it works really good. So anyway, there we are. We're gonna fly it here in just a few minutes, and we'll try it out, and I'll show you some footage of it. This is Daniel with QuadLugs. Try mounting a camera. It works very, very good. Take care.